Wednesday, October the 22nd, 2024. Randans Beach, Grenada, St. George, Grenada. Part 2, as promised. Now, a little storytelling. This is where I do poetry, I do inspirational pieces, and I do storytelling. Storytelling is my thing. I love to tell stories, especially stories that people have a tendency to forget. But the purpose of this post is not to stir controversy around this time, but to provide information. Information for those who do not know, those who forgot, and those who are willing to learn. So I will avoid the word heroes. I'm not talking about heroes. What I'm talking about, highlighting the deeds of Grenadians. Grenadians who demonstrated over the years extraordinary skill, determination, bravery in accomplishing deeds that we must remember. Deeds that many of us would not dare attempt. We must not let it go. Etch it in stone if possible. We read Greek and Roman mythology, called Greco-Roman mythology. Stories that are not true, but stories that have stirred the imagination of people over the years, and we study at primary level, at secondary level, and we study at universities. Stories that sprung from the minds of ancient poets and storytellers like Homer. Epic stories like Jason and the Argonaut that we see on the silver screen. They make movies with these stories. Yes, you read about the adventures of Hercules and the strength, the athletic strength and ability of Hercules. Atlas, who they told us held the world on his shoulder. Nonsense. But we read and studied the stories. Stories that stunned the imagination. Yes, stories that stunned the imagination. Now, I am using my stay in Grenada to make videos. Now here comes the rain. I'll have to pause this. You know, the rain just didn't set up, it just came down. Let me pause to say this. Looking at the St. George's area over there, the rain is falling. And it's not falling heavy here in Grandans. But I came seeking a little shelter here before I continue the video. I'm under a little tent here. But I'll continue as soon as the rain holds up. And actually the rain is coming down, and the sun is shining. Evidence again, reminding me of the story that was told while we're on the topic of stories. When the rain and the sun appears at the same time, the devil and his wife fighting, or John B. marrying. John B. marrying. Hey, it's a nice rainbow out there. Can you see the rainbow? Nice rainbow. Yes, I interrupted the storytelling just to mention that, but I'll continue. So I'm continuing now. First, let me mention the Bianca Sea. The Bianca Sea. And the year was 1961. And that boat caught fire. I was a little boy, I was small, but I saw the smoke. I lived at Grenville Street at that time. and the smoke way out. When you look from Melville Street area, you're able to see the smoke. And it is worthwhile to mention that brave Grenadians. I put a picture of the statue that was set up because set up first of all near Islander Hotel, Santa Maria actually, near Mount Pandy Beach, and then moved to the Coronage area. Twice a bit deep. Because brave Grenadians went out there, little fishermen in their boats. Fishermen, well, somewhat, not all but little, somewhat big and tall. They went out there in their boats and they saved the lives of those people. And they were housed. Do you know that some of them were housed in the old GBS's hostel, where sort of a boarding school? Some of them were housed there. But the point I am emphasizing, I'm stressing, is that they were brave Grenadians who actually saved the lives of people. What Hercules and others did was fictional. But here we had Grenadians going out there and saving lives. Yes, but do we know their names? So here's a challenge to you who are alive still, and you know the names of some of those people. Tell me about it. Tell me about it. I'll put them in my books. They'll find a spot in my book to talk about it, because bravery is something that must be accentuated, must be stressed, must be emphasized. Bravery. Yes, we are a brave people. And there are more that I will mention. I must not fail to mention that wonderful woman we used to call Auntie Petty or Aunt Petty. It is birds, huh? Look at them. Little birds. They call them Kobo. Hey! Yeah. I like to digress, so I like to stray sometimes. Bear with me. So yes, Miss Petronella Ferguson, Victorian, Grand Provence, in an advanced state of pregnancy, but yet she was able to throw herself in the water when the great river came down. And that's a term we often use in Grenada, the river come down. Big flood caused the river, rainfall, tremendous rainfall. Place flooded and the river come down. And what did she do? She went into the water and she saved a young woman. And Mr. Pele, he told me that there's a lot more to the story. So if you know Mr. Pele Dabo, you can contact him. And he said to me that you can also talk to Miss Shoma Wells, who probably will be able to tell you about the adventure, about what that woman did. Again, a deed that is worthy of a movie. Brave Grenadians. Yes, we are brave people. Brave people. Let me continue. Let me settle this camera, put it right. Shifting a bit on me. Pause it again. I must not fail to mention Mr. Clinton Bailey, who in 2019, the man put his life on the line at risk. When he ventured out, he was out there in the sea, and he succeeded in his boat. While he was in his boat, he succeeded in saving 3 fishermen who were in grave difficulty. I had the opportunity to meet him at a funeral in St. David once, and he told me that he was almost out of fuel, but he took the chance. He selflessly pushed out, and he pushed aside all his fears and the danger of losing his life or going adrift. And he was able to save the lives of 3 fishermen. Big him up. Let his story be told. And now I come to the 3 young men. One called Jake Edmond and Teron Hazel from Petit Martinique. Some say Carriacou, but I heard it's from Petit Martinique. Well, if I'm wrong, correct me. Who rescued passengers from a bus. The bus ended up in the Grenada seawater in 2019. A toddler's life was saved by a 17-year-old Adriel Posu of Carriacou. Well, if they received some sort of honor, let me know, because I cannot say they did. If they did, if they were honored in any way, let me know. Tell me. But again, the purpose of this video is to emphasize, to stress, to make the point that we are a brave and courageous people. And many have done deeds, acts of bravery, which many would not dare attempt. Now the challenge for you. By the way, I must say that if you go to that bridge in Victoria, you'll see a little monument there. And the deed that Miss Petronella Ferguson did, saving the life of that young person, a deed that she was recognized by the British royalty, the monarchy, the Duke of Edinburgh. He pinned a gold and silver medal on her chest. He recognized her bravery. There's a picture of a Duke, Prince Philip, the husband of the late Queen Elizabeth II, pinning that medal, or the medals, onto her. You can see it on my Facebook page. There are pictures of it there. One picture actually. But they recognize her. And yes, she is recognized somehow in Grenada, because you will see her name and the story, their story, right by the bridge there, the entrance to Victoria in the parish of St. Mark. I'm glad that this was done. Happy that it was done. So, you tell the story. Tell the story if you know of people who saved lives during Hurricane Janet. There are stories to be told, yes. Lives were saved. We have to know their names. Acts of bravery. So while we continue to study Greco-Roman mythology, while we learn about Hercules and Atlas and the Odyssey and Homer's writing that is written and studied in universities, let us also remember those among us who risked their lives to save people. Again, I want to emphasize, I do not use the word heroes. This is not about heroes. It's about people who did great works of bravery. And if you want to call them heroes, well, it's up to you. But I'm glad that today, right here on GRENADA's beach, the 22nd of October 2025, I am making this video to remember the acts of bravery by Grenadians. God bless, God bless, God bless. God bless, as old Mr. Marisho used to say. Anthony Wendell Riggs. A little picture here of the skyline. Blessings and more blessings.